Hi everyone, so I'm out here in my she shed ready to film a Q&A video, and in case you're not familiar with my little shed here in the backyard, it's just a very small space. I love it. It's one of my favorite areas on our property. John and I built it years ago. We were still Amish at the time, so of course I don't have any video footage of the process. I wish I did, but it measures around 5 by 10 foot, I think, maybe a little longer. And it has these cool old windows along the front that kind of swing out to let a breeze come in through here. And then also the sound of my waterfall on the outside. I always like to hear that when I'm back here. And now and then you're going to hear something fall on the roof. I'm not quite sure what it is, probably a seed or something. And beside me here I have some freshly squeezed lemonade that Ephraim made just a bit ago. It's very refreshing for a hot summer day. And I also have my honeysuckle candle burning, and it smells so good in here. And the reason I'm sitting on this end, normally I sit over there underneath my little pictures. I was kind of on a race against the sunshine that comes flowing in through here in the afternoon, and this corner always gets it last, so I thought I'd have a little more time if I sit here. So let's get right into the questions. The first questions are from last month's Q&A video, and the first one is Robin Brill saying, "Hi Mary, how do you stay motivated? Sometimes it's so difficult for me." I am not always motivated, but I gotta say probably most of the time. And I am just blessed, I guess, to be able to create a business out of doing things I love. I realize that's not possible for everyone, and most of my life I wasn't able to do that. Not that I'm not saying that, being a mom and a wife, isn't what I wanted in my life. That was definitely something I wanted, but I'm speaking on, as far as, making money or having a business or, working, because our boys are growing now and I definitely need something to do. Like, I'd get really bored if I wouldn't have extra things to do. So I just consider myself really, really lucky to be able to be doing things that I love doing every day and then creating an income with it. I never ever thought that would happen. Like, I've always done the things I do, but I just never was able to. I made some side money on, redoing furniture and painting for people, things like that, but I wasn't ever able to kind of create a full-time income for my husband and myself, doing what we love to do, and I feel really blessed with that. I pray for inspiration and new ideas, and I always feel if I feel right about it, then if it does come into my mind, that really motivates me that it's what I should be doing. It's what God intended for me to be doing. Hopefully that all makes sense and wasn't too rambly. Janice Engel says, "I had my brick house painted white. The painter used a good quality primer, then 2 coats of white paint. That was 5 years ago, and I have enjoyed every single day. No regrets." It's good for me to hear. But since the upper part of your house is white, have you thought about painting the lower brick black or darkish gray? I have thought about that. In case you missed it, but in the last Q&A I talked about the idea of possibly painting our brick on the house white. And I have already also thought about maybe dark gray or even black, because I like the black and white scheme. So I'm not quite sure. I'd be interested to see what you guys would think. Like, would you go white or dark gray, or just keep it the way it is? I know I asked that before, and many of you said paint it by all means. So I probably will end up doing that eventually, because I just really don't like the color of our brick, if I'm honest. But yeah, definitely that is a good idea to go with a different color than what the siding is, although I think it could work with white also, and especially maybe a whitewashed, maybe have some of the brown brick showing through. Not quite sure. It's just scary for me, because I know once it's done, there's no getting it back or starting over, maybe starting over somewhat. But Karen Orlando says, "Have you ever thought about whitewashing your brick?" I guess this is along the same line. It sounds like she did that with her fireplace brick. I wish I could post a picture, because it really turned out beautiful. I'm sure it did. I'd love to see a picture of it. But I have seen that where people do the inside, the fireplace brick too, and it is really pretty. I'm sure if I think I mentioned this the other time, but if I end up, painting our brick, I'd probably start out with just doing like a whitewash. The paint that I got is actually intended to be put on that way, or you can, apply it and then spray some of it off, making it look kind of whitewashed. I can always then, cover the whole thing if I decide to go that route. Cindy says, "What kind of vine do you have planted on your arbor?" That is a silver lace vine. I had gotten the start from my sister Marlene a couple years ago, And that one blooms more towards the fall season, I think. Sarah Weeks says, please, 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 can we have some more Trash to Treasure videos from you? Definitely keep it in mind. I feel bad, like these last couple months probably have been, you know, often with making videos, I just kind of have to use what I have going on anyway with the busy summer season we're in. And I love doing the Trash to Treasure videos, but I don't always get around to getting them done. So I'll keep that in mind. Control food, control people is the bottom comment here. I often address those because I feel they can be constructive criticism, and I like to hear that too. Sometimes they're not even that, but I think I covered this one the last time. She's saying, like the subscriber said, so sick of the infomercial, time to unsubscribe, which that is totally fine. That's up to you. I always say, as long as I have an Etsy shop and I enjoy making products to turn people's homes all cozy and beautiful, I'm probably going to talk about the products on here that I have available. The next questions are from the Porch decor video. The first one is Nana's Legacy is saying, absolutely beautiful. Do you always put your houseplants outside in the summer? I've never have, but I might try that. I do. They do so much better in the summertime on the outside than during the winter. In fact, I consider myself lucky if I get them over the winter and then to put them out during the summertime. It always revives them. But I'm not sure, that might differ on depending what kind of climate you lived in too. Maddie's Full says, I love the sink fountain, thank you. Do you have any suggestions to keep things clean? I have so much pollen and dirt blowing on my porch. My pillows and throws turn yellow. Oh, that's too bad. We do have a lot of that here in the woods too, but I can't say that I really deal with that on the porch. It probably depends on where your porch is too, like what way the wind is blowing and all that. But as far as keeping the fountain clean, right now it's not running. It had I had to do some adjusting in the back, and I just haven't gotten around to fixing it, so it's dry right now. But normally if it's running, you know, every couple of weeks at least, I'll just, you know, drain it and kind of spray everything out and then refill it again. So things like that. I love the sound of water, so to me it's worth it, but it definitely is a lot more work, you know, if you have little water features here and there. Teresa B says, I love how you use the door as a design element. How did you get it to stay upright? Is it secured to something so it doesn't fall down when the wind blows? Yes, it is, and sorry, I probably missed adding that into the video, but I fastened it with a screw on the one, like the railing post. That's how I fasten it, and yes, it would blow over if I hadn't done that. Christina Stolzfuss says, Mary, what did you use on the underside of your porch? Is it painted boards or something else? It's just regular deck boards, and we stained it. Trying to think of the color. What comes to mind is Caravan Brown, but it's not quite. It's something with a C. I'll try to put it on the screen for you guys, but it's like a semi-transparent stain, so it wouldn't be a complete paint. It would actually have a little bit of the green coming through. And these days, a lot, like our deck floor could use a whole new coat, and there's lots of things around here that could use an upgrade, but everything's kind of on the back burner on our property right now with everything else we have going on. Eventually we'll get to it, but just probably not this year. The bottom comment is Teresa Bowden saying beautiful, so that's not a negative one. Thank you for that, appreciate it. The next questions are from the Twig Arbor video. Lanella Maxwell says, it is beautiful as always, thank you. What do you plan on training to grow up the sides of your arbor? I planted some black-eyed Susan vines on both sides. I think you can call them Susie vines too, and these have the white flowers. You can also get with, I think, orange and kind of that yellow color. Rocklyn Hamilton says, how do you stay so healthy and have so much energy? I wish I had your energy. I always love your videos. Thanks for making my day again. Well, thanks for those kind words. I appreciate it. As far as being energetic, I get tired too. I notice, I don't even like to say this, but with age, you know, things I used to be able to do and not feel a thing the next day, you know, I feel it sometimes the next day, but I guess that's just natural, the part of aging. But and then just having energy, I've always been kind of like that, and almost too much sometimes, like to the point where I sometimes look at people that are just more normal and satisfied, and I think it would be kind of nice to actually be that way. I guess we can't really help how we are, but we can definitely, just knowing our weaknesses and strengths is a good thing, I guess, but it's good to have a balance, definitely. Anne Siegman says, was that thunder on Monday night? I live in northwest Ohio, and we had a terrible storm. In that video, that was a couple weeks before that storm. I know the storm you're referring to, trust me, we had it here too. I had shared some on Instagram, maybe in a video too, the garden party video, which would have gone live yesterday. I had shared with, about the storm that we had. It was very scary. We had tornadoes, I'd say. I mean, I think people actually would say we had tornadoes, like buildings were taken down and then trees everywhere, and our area was out of power, some people for a couple of weeks. And we actually, I wanted to mention this while I'm on the subject, we ran behind on our herb pillows. I had talked about those in the video, and I felt bad. We still haven't shipped them all out. Like the company that makes them for us, like actually irons the images on the pillows for us, didn't have power for a week, so that really threw us behind. But I felt so bad because I thought many of you would have wanted to have the pillows, in time for, summer, and it's still, you'll have them this summer, but it's just a lot later than I had hoped for. But sorry about that. I guess things happen. You can't really do much about it, but I felt bad for all the late orders. Carol says, do you ever sleep or rest, or is your mind always busy imagining what 1,000 things you want to do next? Do you ever wake up and think, I'd like to snuggle in bed and read a good book with my cat today? That's funny. As far as ever rest and sleep, I definitely rest and sleep, but I admit if I have spare time, I usually am thinking of something I could do, or maybe I'm on Pinterest getting inspiration, but that's just what I prefer to do in my, like, that's fun to me. It's not really work, I guess. And then as far as snuggling in bed and reading a good book with my cat, I'm sure Pebbles would be impressed, but for myself, no, I never really think about that. I probably wouldn't, that would probably kind of drive me crazy to do that, although I like to read, but I don't think I wanted to do it for a whole day. But just an hour in the afternoon would work. Here's a good one that MB just stuck in here. It's not a question really, but I got Sunday lawn care after your first time, and I couldn't believe the difference it has made. Well, good, I'm glad to hear that. I do have a Sunday lawn care link down below in the description box if you want to check them out, or just Google them, whichever way you want. But I'm really impressed with their products. Like, I like the idea that they're just more, not as harsh as a lot of those treatments are. She says, I'm very impressed with and waiting on my second delivery. I also wear flip-flops in the woods. That's nice to hear that I'm not the only one. The next questions are from the summer mantle video. Janice Miller says, I love your mantle decor. Thanks. That's exactly what I would want in my home. I'd love to see how the cottage decor is going. Any updates? I am planning to have a cottage update video coming soon here. Not decorating at this point. Things just take a while to finish. I feel like we're on the tail end. Things are being completed, like the flooring is in, and today Joel is working on the tile, like along the shower walls. John is helping him. Can't wait to see that. So the fun stuff definitely has begun, and on Monday they plan to install the cabinets, like the kitchen cabinets and the bathroom vanities, so really excited about that. But I'll definitely get a cottage update video soon, so you guys can follow along with that. Rosie says, hi Mary, would you consider doing a video all about setting up an Etsy shop? I would possibly, maybe during the winter time when I wouldn't have anything else to do, but I should do that because I know how helpful that was to me to be able to see people do that when I started my Etsy shop, which I was kind of lucky because Marlene, my sister, had hers first, so she was able to help me with that. But it's really not that hard. I always say if I can, anyone can. Like, I didn't have any, if you have any questions, while you're doing something like that, you can always go on YouTube and just watch to see how someone else does it, or just Google it. People write about those things too, and it's just, there's lots of information out there. Hilda McLaughlin says, Mary, is that a working fireplace? It is not. I wish it was. I just wanted, it would be nice to have an actual fireplace, but I definitely was more after just having an area to decorate, especially during the winter. I think it's so fun, during Christmas time to have a mantle to fix up, and during the year, year round too, of course. Donna R. says, so pretty, thank you, very serene, just what I need. Mary, will you please say a prayer for me and my 3 sons? My husband of 35 years just passed away, and I really am in agony. I need God's help to make it through this. I'm so sorry to hear that, Donna. I can't imagine what you're going through. I definitely will pray for you, and let's all do that for Donna. Just pray that she can somehow find healing during this time. Like, I I can't imagine. Again, I never went through that, so it's hard for me to imagine what you're going through, but I definitely will pray for you. And I just, yeah, I guess just have that hope, and someday you'll see him again. Think, God he's with you still, even during these times. Sometimes I even feel more so, like if you're kind of in a downtime, you just feel God more too. But I know it's, again, easier for me to say that. Here I am with my husband, and we all are just going about our normal life, and I always kind of feel guilty about that. I just wish I could, fix it for you, that you wouldn't have to be going through this. But yeah, definitely keep you in my prayers. The bottom comment from that video is Mary saying, I like what you did with the bottles. I don't like the baskets, however, on the mantle. The baskets look dirty. I can see with all the whites in there that it kind of would look maybe dirty, but I did want that natural kind of wood look in there, so for me, I really like them. The last questions are from the Saturday Day in the Life video. April Bossert is asking a couple of questions. What brand is the laser machine? My hubby and I have been interested in getting one, but they are so expensive. And second, can you walk away from the machine and let it do its thing, or do you have to stay there and monitor? Well, first of all, the brand, I'll put that on the screen. I'm not quite sure the name. I think it's Adam something. And then as far as expense, it wasn't really expensive, or I didn't think, you can get some that are, $1,000 or more. This one was maybe under $300 or around $300. I don't think that's too bad for what it does. We're really impressed with it. Like, I would definitely recommend this one. I know this one was the more, like a 40 watt, like the more powerful one, so it would actually, work faster than some of them. So I'd probably recommend that, because even with it working faster, supposedly it still takes a lot of time, especially if you have some fine details to burn. And then as far as staying there and monitoring it, no, we walk away from it. At first we really kept an eye on it, because we thought, it's actually burning wood. Like, what if something would ignite or go on fire? And we don't really get that feeling. You smell a little bit of smoke, like in the shop, and if we're working in the shop at the same time, often we'll run a fan and kind of blow that smell out, so we don't, smell it all the time. But those little signs that I did recently, the America the Beautiful lyrics, that took about 3 hours to burn one. I think that's what I had showed in the video. So definitely, yeah, you don't have time to just stand there and watch it do its thing, but it's nice to be able to go do other things then while it burns or engraves. Robin says, I have a question for you. As creative and expressive as you are, do you enjoy music? And if so, do you have any favorite songs? I do enjoy music. I don't consider myself a singer by any means, but I like to sing along. And it might surprise you, but my favorite music is probably just the old country, anything from 70s, 80s, some 90s. I don't care as much for the new country. Some of the songs are okay, but I just feel like they all kind of sound the same to me. I don't know, is it just my age or what? But I really enjoy, that good old country music. And then I also like some gospel hymns. My favorite gospel song is to even sing in church is How Great Thou Art. In fact, I once I put that song on my phone. That was before, I think I didn't even have a smartphone. I just kind of recorded it somehow and put it on my flip phone. And when we were hiking, I played it on top of the mountain. And you guys should do that if you're into hiking, or if you like that song. Like, it just had so much meaning to me, especially the verse where it talks about, the mountains and the brooks, and you just feel God up there, And that's probably my favorite, gospel. I like lots of the songs we sing in church, but just for if I'm driving down the road and I want to listen to music, I'll probably go for 80s country. I like Shenandoah, Restless Heart, George Strait, Dwight Yoakam, just all Steve Wariner, all kinds of different ones. I can't really think of a favorite song necessarily, but I really like to sing along to all those good old country songs. Rhonda Butler says, does your mother like being outside as much as you and your sister? Is that where you get your love of gardening? Yeah, she's a gardener too. Like, she really has a green thumb. She doesn't do as much of it, of course, as she used to, but everything she has there on their property, even if it's not a lot, but what she has is really pretty and manicured, and so I definitely say that's probably where we get it from. Karma D says, just one thought, have you ever used vinegar to kill vegetation you need to get rid of? I only learned about this a couple of years ago. Also, you can smother grass or weeds with a tarp. I don't know if the cleanup is anything like Roundup, but there are chemical-free ways of getting rid of plants. Just a thought. Yeah, I know years ago I tried vinegar. It didn't work for me. I'm not sure. Maybe I did something wrong with it, but I would love to be able to do that, you know, use more of a natural way to get rid of something. And I also know that if you lay something down, you know, the grass will die eventually. But I guess in my case, when I made the, you know, the herb garden, I wanted it to be now, like I wanted my shape, and I was kind of in a hurry to get on with it, so I used cleanup. And that is a better, I'm sure there's chemicals in there too, but it's less harsh than your Roundup would be. And that's why I use that. And I even noticed with those, you have to add more to get, you know, to kill grass. It seems you have to make it stronger, being that it's probably not as harsh. Sushi Roll says, my son would probably like that name. He loves sushi. With all the prices increasing for food, have you thought about growing a veggie garden? Yes, I have. Here in the woods, it's just really hard. That's why I don't have one, but we have thought about it. Over by the cottages, that land is just farmland. It's lush and just perfect for growing something. So hopefully maybe another year we might do that. Of course, not this year anymore, but we definitely want to try to get our orchard in this year. But as far as a veggie garden, maybe next year. The next question here is Teresa saying, and it's funny because MB always labels or titles the different questions either by number, or if it's something significant, she'll put something else down. And here she said, LOL, my favorite question. She is saying, happy anniversary, may God continue to bless your marriage. Thanks for that, I appreciate it. Was wondering, do your boys have girlfriends? LOL. No, they do not. I could see that MB liked that question because they get teased a lot about, you know, all kinds of girls around here, but no girlfriends so far. Kimberly Stratton says, with all the devastating weather in your area, are you okay? I hear Berlin won't be back up and running for a few weeks, which I guess I talked about that, but yeah, we're back up and running. In fact, I think just today again I heard chainsaws going somewhere. Like for the last couple weeks, ever since the storm, that's all you hear is just people cutting up trees. And we definitely had a nasty storm go through a couple weeks ago. CJ Sidner says, what time does your morning start? I kind of joke about it. I kind of wake up with the birds, like it's with how daylight, you know, starts happening is usually when I wake up naturally. But you know, during the winter, like when my son is in school, of course I set an alarm to make sure I, you know, get up in time. But during the summer month, when I really don't need to get up at a certain time, for the most part, it's usually 6:30ish, around there, that time when I wake up. Sometimes I'll lay there and just, you know, doze off again or think about things before actually getting up, but normally around 6:30. The bottom comment is Susan Weimer saying, you shouldn't wear flip-flops when spraying grass killer. It is absorbed through the skin on your feet. Please take care. Yeah, I know I shouldn't do that. I know I was careful when I was spraying to not get anything on me, but I realize with flip-flops you're more likely to do that, so keep that in mind next time. And MB stuck this one in. This isn't a question, but I'll read it since she stuck it in, because she said, LOL, so funny to me. Candace is saying, how wonderful to have a dinner at such a beautiful place. John looked underdressed, but that is what people do anymore. You look really nice in your pretty dress. Well, thanks for that, and I'll pass that on to John. It's funny because he asked me what he should wear that evening, and I love to see him in a black or white t-shirt. That's like my favorite look for him. So I said, I'll just wear your black t-shirt, and I realized he was probably a bit underdressed compared to me, but it's okay. I like to see him that way, so I guess that's why he wore it. And that's all the questions for this month's Q&A. Thanks for hanging out with me here in my shed. I hope you all have a great 4th of July weekend. Can't believe it's that time of the year already, but always one of my favorite times. I love summer. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.